Hello, Gaston County. Welcome to episode number 73. It is 73, right? All right. Of Gaston's Great, a podcast highlighting some of the great things happening in and around Gaston County. I'm your host, Stephen Long, and we are coming to you once again from the international headquarters of GSM Services right here in downtown Gastonia. As we continue to look forward to having great discussions in the coming weeks and months, we simply believe in discussing more of the reasons why Gaston's great. We have another great organization this week as we highlight the Mount Holly Farmers Market. We have Paige Sigmon with us today. Paige is the current vice chair of the Farmers Market. Paige, it's great to have you on and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on today.
Absolutely. So we're going to get right to our questions. If you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the organization. Anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, of course. So I'm a Gaston County native. I went to school and came back and opened a practice here. So I'm a chiropractor in Mount Holly.
Okay. That's cool.
And
Didn't know that.
So I love Gaston County and fell in love with Mount Holly when I was looking for somewhere to open the practice and got involved with the farmers market right when I was getting open. So it's good.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to Cherryville High School.
Oh, very good. I don't know if we had any you might be the first Cherryville High School graduate on the podcast.
We hide,
No, that's great. So, obviously, most people probably have some type of vision in their heads when they hear farmers market, a farmers market they visited or something that they might know about. So just there might be listeners out there who's never been to a farmers market. So kind of just tell us tell us about the farmers market. What is it, where it is, and just, that's again, the main purpose here is to bring recognition to the organization.
Yeah, of course. So basically our farmers market is local vendors. That's one thing that sets us apart from a lot of other markets. You have farmers they have to be within 75 miles of Mount Holly and where their product is grown.
Okay.
So we have farmers and we also have artisans. So all of our artisans have handmade products. Nothing is resold at the market. So you're able to co-op with other farms, for example. If you have certain products that don't grow in this area and you're co-oping with another farm, as long as you're specifying where that farm is coming from, you are able to do that. But it's local, fresh foods, and we have some prepared foods as well that people are able to buy. But again, they have to be made locally as well. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So where is the Mount Holly Farmers Market?
The farmers market is on Main Street in Mount Holly. So 3 years ago, we got a lot of capital fundraising for a trellis structure. So there's a trellis structure on Main Street, and it looks just like a lot of wood until Saturday mornings when the farmers market pops up all around it. So,
right.
But it's a permanent structure, so it gave us a little bit more recognition when the market was closed.
Okay. Yeah, I'm assuming COVID did some chaos for the farmers market like it did in most
it was
places.
an interesting year, but it's funny because it was our busiest season we've ever had as a farmers market because nobody was traveling, everyone was home.
Fair enough, yeah.
And everyone apparently needs to eat, even when chaos is going on around them. And it was nice to have the ability to be outside, so we didn't have to shut down at all because we were able to, our market's always outside. We didn't have to change a whole lot of that. We just spread everything out more. And when you're buying produce from a farmer, that farmer picked the produce, put it on the table, and then you bought it. So it actually decreased the amount of, hands that were being passed through.
Good point.
So people felt safe, and it was a great place for people to still feel connected to the community and still be doing something that they knew was good for them and eating fresh food and fueling their bodies with good foods and do it in a safe manner.
So is there this might be a bad question for a farmer's market, but is there a mission for the organization specifically, or is it just more of a general
No,
thing?
we definitely have a mission. Our mission is to connect the community with farmers and to connect, provide access to fresh foods for all members of the community as well.
Okay, very good. So I guess that's what most people, maybe they might not word it that way, but that's probably what most people would associate with a farmer's market. I'm not sure I would have associated the artisan part. Mm-hmm. I may ask a few more questions about that, as we continue this conversation. So you mentioned you moving back here, starting to practice yourself, But can you maybe share specifically, how did you get involved with the farmers market? Is it something that you've always had a passion for, or just, just in general, how did you end up there?
So I've always enjoyed going to farmers markets. When I was in grad school, that was our routine on Saturday morning, was going to the market, being able to shop and, just have that community feel, but also be connected with fresh local foods. And so as soon as I opened the practice here, I was looking at opportunities to volunteer and things I wanted to get involved with to meet people. And I saw that there was a farmer's market, so that was a great opportunity for me. So I started volunteering on Saturdays there. And, if you've ever been around many nonprofits, you don't have to volunteer for long before they ask you to
That's right,
join the community.
I know exactly what you mean, yes.
So the Farmers Market Board is fantastic. And, I was honored to join that, I guess, 4 or 5 years ago now. So it's been great.
So how many board members are there? Is it typically is it all Mount Holly residents? Just kind
So
of
we
goes to
have
mix.
15 board members right now.
Okay.
We've had a lot of changes in the past few years with the trellis structure being constructed. We just launched a Veterans Healing Garden around the farmers market. So we've had a lot of special projects, so that kind of added some board members to us. It's a lot of yes, Mount Holly residents and people who are involved in the market already, but then we also try to be a little strategic about anyone else that can add value in a specific job to allow them to be a part of the organizational board as well.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I'm always interested to see how organizations are set up. I'm involved with a lot of organizations around the county myself. So I guess this might not be the best wording, but can you talk about some of the initiatives, or you mentioned special projects going on or programs? Mm-hmm. Maybe some of the things that you're doing in the community, other organizations might be involved, which is anything that, you can share about some of the things that the organization is doing.
Yeah, so our special project that we've worked on recently, like I said, the Veterans Healing Garden. So we were able to get a couple of grants and as well as sponsorships for outside of our trellis structure. We've created a garden that has a brick walkway that has bricks with all the veterans that are from Mount Holly listed. So we partnered with the Mount Holly Historical Society to be able to honor those veterans. And they all have a pollinator garden around those bricks, so that sidewalk serves a purpose in more than one way, right? So it's healing for the community and people who may, take special time within some of that veteran part of it, but then it's also healing in the community for pollinator garden, and just a really beautiful spot, and kind of adds a little bit of serenity to what could be a busy morning on a Saturday. You've got a spot to sit and reflect as well.
Sure. Are there any other organizations you're involved with? Any connections, say, to the Mount Holly Community Garden, or any educational things that you guys do? Again, I'm pulling things out of the...
No, that's good. It helps me answer questions.
Sure.
So the Mount Holly Community Development Foundation, we started as a incubation project from the foundation. The farmers market did. So we were able to branch off and become our own 501c3, and then we actually helped launch the community garden as well. So that was an incubation from us that then launched into their own 501c3.
So you guys came first?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the Community Development Foundation was the original, but then the market has been around for 16 years now. So, and then let's see, what else did you ask about for education purposes? So we have a program through Ida Rankin where we have garden beds there that we helped the kids learn how to garden. We've gotten multiple grants for that. And we have another project going in our Veterans Garden that will be similar. So we'll have beds there. We got some sponsorships from organizations in Mount Holly to have the kids plant stuff while they're there and work on activities and really learn through farming and gardening and what can be really interesting about it and get them excited for it.
Okay. So that's good to hear, because I've a lot of the organizations that we talk to, anytime you're involving youth and exposing them to things, I mean, the world we live in, a lot of kids don't get exposed to any type of gardening or farming. I mean, I know my kids did a little bit, not as much as they probably should have. But like when I grew up, right, in the dark ages, my mother's family still had a farm, and
Yeah.
in Lucia, not I guess between Mount Holly and in Denver, and so I was able to spend a lot of time out in that area and digging in the dirt, so to speak.
And look where it got you.
Yeah, at a podcast and talking about Holly Farmers Market. So, with all the programs, initiatives, things you've been involved with since you've been involved with the organization, can you think about any anecdotal stories of successes, or whether it's on the education side with the school, or just anything that you can share that something that you're really proud of that the organization has accomplished since you've been involved with it?
So I would have to say a couple pieces of it. Our programming is a big part that I'm very proud of. So we have a chef cooking demonstration program. So we have Erin Dennison as our chef in residence, and she comes and cooks what's available at our market, because a lot of times, we think of education for youth, but also education for people who have never had these specific vegetables or fruits in front of them before, and knowing how to actually put that together. Some people, it's not that they don't like to cook, it's that they don't know how to cook the product, so they don't buy it. So she comes and shops at the market and then shows everyone how she would prepare something that's fresh and healthy, and gives them the recipes to take home and kind of inspires them to do that, which is really fun. And then we also have programming for musicians. So having live music at the market really creates that community atmosphere and makes people want to stick around after they've done their shopping too. And it's got a really good feel to it on a Saturday morning when you've got just local musicians playing and people enjoying it. It just kind of gives back to that community feel that I feel like Gaston County's always had, and it kind of captures it without being able to define it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And we also have a POP program, which is the Power of Produce, and it's our kids club for the market. So kids can come and participate in an activity, and the activities can differ from, sometimes we'll have them do a scavenger hunt. So we give them, a sheet of paper, and they have to go find different vegetables and fruits or products at the market. And anytime they participate in that, they actually get a little coin that they can spend that's worth $2. And they can use it for fruits, vegetables, eggs, that sort of thing. And they get really excited. And I think some of the most beautiful moments are when the kids, you've got siblings and they're coming together trying to put all their coins together to see if they can afford the blueberries or the blackberries, and it's a lot of fun just seeing them get excited about stuff. And sometimes the activities are them trying different things. They've had apples, but did you know that there are lots of different kinds of apples and they all taste differently? And having them try something, because if the parent tells them to try something they've never tried, the answer is no.
That's a good
point. But if a stranger says, hey, try this, and maybe not a stranger wasn't the best choice of words there, but
I know what you mean.
If someone, invites them to
another
try something.
Trusted adult.
Yeah, another trusted adult invites them to try something for coins that it's a fun activity and they get to spend money, then they're going to want to do that. So it's a good opportunity for them as well.
Yeah, I hear there. I have 3 children, and they will listen to anyone else sooner than they will listen to me often. And that was a good segue. You mentioned Erin Dennison. So if your listeners out there, you'll go back to episode 71, wasn't it 2 episodes ago? Erin was on talking about the Mount Holly Community Garden, and she did talk a little bit about the farmers market and her chefing skills. Chef skills. Sorry, I don't. That's some bad grammar. But I appreciate you sharing that. So something that just came to mind: how on a typical Saturday when the market, the farmers market is open, how many? I'm not sure the right word. How many vendors, or how many?
Sure.
How many people are there?
So our vendors, it varies seasonally, right?
Okay.
So obviously in the middle of summer, June, July, we have the most vendors. So I think our max capacity we hit this year was right at 30 vendors at the market. We start in April and go through October. We don't have that many vendors in those spring and fall markets.
Gotcha.
Just because things aren't available and it has to be grown here. So when tomato season's over, you're not going to find a tomato there. And that's one thing I think people, their first time at the market is, it can be something that they didn't think about beforehand, right? They come and they say, well, where are the watermelons? Well, it's April. We don't have watermelons here,
Right.
So it's so different from the standard we're used to of a grocery store. in a good way. And once they understand why, they're like, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I just never really thought about it. So at the height of that was where we get the around 30 vendors, but we usually have between 10 and 25.
Okay. So is that including what you mentioned earlier, artisans? Is that would include that?
It is. Mm-hmm. So we have a limit of how many artisans we have. So we have.
I'm just laughing because there's a train going by.
I wondered what was happening,
Yeah,
but I didn't want to say anything.
We're in our what we call our innovation room here at GSM. We're normally in the conference room. We have some out of town guests here in our conference room today, and so the room is shaking a little, and we can hear the horn of the train. So
you guys didn't look concerned, so I was okay.
Oh no, it's all good. Just hold on. No, it's all good. Sorry, I interrupted you.
That's fine.
Paige.
So yeah, our artisans, we do allow up to a certain percentage of our market to be artisans.
Okay.
We still want the core to always be farmers and people who are making stuff as far as food products go. But we do allow some artisans as well. And that can be everything from, we have a vendor who makes wooden flags that are American flags, things like that. It's all still locally crafted things.
Sure.
It can be stuff that's made from plants. We have people that have little succulents that they'll turn into kind of artwork. We have Arts on the Greenway, which is another local nonprofit in Mount Holly. They usually have a booth there doing different types of artwork and teaching people about that artwork as well. So those are most likely what our artisans look like in the market. When
you mentioned Aaron out there helping doing educational cooking, gosh, I'm keep hitting that. No, I'm sorry. We live in this processed food world, right? Mm-hmm. And the convenience of all that. Over your time in the garden, are you seeing growth there with people interested in that over time, or is it? I'm always curious as to that type of thing. Is the message getting out better over the past few years? At least what I read and see and listen to, it seems like it is, but I don't live in the farmers market world, so to speak. I mean, and so that's something that interests me especially as I've gotten older. I'm paying a lot more attention to what I'm eating.
I believe so. I think that the convenience factor of processed food is always what originally gets people interested in it. Right? There is no cooking at the timing, and we live busy lives. But I think personally that we're at sort of a tipping point where people understand that there is a negative to that as well, and it's not just a convenient positive, but they are learning more about, just your health in general and how you build that, and what everybody knows that, a salad from a fresh farmer's market or just leafy green vegetables in general is better for you than a fast food burger.
Everyone
people
knows
that. Yeah.
Everyone
now,
knows
whether
that.
or not
they don't want to admit that.
Yeah.
But everyone knows that, right, Naomi?
And obviously everything's about balance. And we're never about, we're always meeting people where they're at in their journey for foods. And it may be that even if you're not ready to commit to, okay, I'm only buying vegetables and only, eating whole foods and things like that, that's okay too. We have bread vendors there. You buy bread anyway. You buy eggs anyway. You buy cheese anyway. We have that stuff at the market too, but it's fresh and local.
I'm a bread guy.
There you go.
I mean, good bread. That's what I'm talking about. So, Paige, looking ahead, we asked this kind of standard question, but knowing where the market has come from, looking ahead, any big plans the next few years, how do you see the future of the Mount Holly Farmers Market?
I think we have a big future. Like I said, our customer base just within the past 2-3 years has almost doubled.
Okay, that's good.
As far as the traffic coming through the market. And I think we have a huge future ahead of us. We've gotten back to all of our programming and all of our vendors, and really just being able to expand the market in great ways. So I think we'll be around in Mount Holly for a long time to come, and have some big ideas in the future too.
All right, well, very good. So remember, this is a podcast about Gaston County. Obviously, we're focused on Mount Holly today, but why would you say, in your own words, just why is Gaston County better? Because the Mount Holly Farmers Market is here.
Mm-hmm. I think that the farmers market kind of exemplifies what is great about Gaston County in general, and that is that local community feel and the we want to help each other mentality. And I feel like that's a lot of what the farmers market feel is as well when you're sitting there. And then also just being able to bring fresh foods to the community is a big part of it. You know, I haven't mentioned our SNAP program, which is our Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
Okay.
And we're able to offer double bucks to those that come and swipe their SNAP card at the market. So instead of going to spend $10, they'll swipe it for $10. That's what they're charged, but we give them $20 to spend there.
Okay.
And, you know, it allows them to spend that money on stuff that is good for them. And it's also really good from an economic standpoint as far as farms. People a lot of times don't think about farms as businesses.
Oh, yeah.
But all of our vendors are small business owners. And so being able to help the local economy in that way as well. There have been a lot of studies on just how it helps the local economy when you have utilization of area in a economical standpoint and not just, you know, here's land that nobody's doing anything with kind of thing.
Right.
So, you know, there are a lot of different pieces to it, but I would say that those are the main ones.
Okay. So are there any questions I haven't asked, anything you'd like to share? Of course, one thing we'll make sure we do before we finish, we'll make sure our listeners know how to find more information out or anything you want to share before we're done. But any questions I haven't asked or anything you'd like to share specifically before we move on to these really important questions?
I think the main thing I was going to just mention was that SNAP program. And what we can really use help with is just spreading the word as far as the farmers market in general. All the people that know about the farmers market love it.
Right.
But the people who don't know about it don't know about it. So
we have a lot of good kept secrets sometimes in Gaston County.
Absolutely.
And we've learned that over 73 episodes now that some of them are not. Again, that's the whole point of why we're here talking about it today. So, Paige, you have been here, especially being originally from Gaston County. You are going to be forced to answer these Gaston County related questions.
Okay.
Okay. And what are we going to call them today, Naomi? The farmers market round, speed round of questions? That's kind of boring, but that's where we're going. Okay. Okay. All right. You ready?
I am. You know, sometimes fresh foods and Gaston County questions aren't always going to mix together. We're going to do our best, though. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure some of these questions actually.
I'll have to answer those personally.
Relate.
You know,
directly to fresh farmers market food. But anyway, favorite Tony's ice cream flavor?
Personally, I would go chocolate. The farmers market would probably say grape, but I'm going to go chocolate.
Oh, chocolate's mine. Sundrop or Cheerwine?
Cheerwine.
Favorite local restaurant?
Heirloom in Belmont sells a lot of stuff from local farms. So.
Okay, yeah, Heirloom. I've been there a couple times.
One of our vendors is Piedmont Farmstead, and they sell to Heirloom for a lot of their product. Mm-hmm.
Very good. You can't answer this going to the farmer's market. So favorite outdoor activity in Gaston County or favorite park or?
I would have to say the new Riverhawk Greenway in Mount Holly is one of my favorites there.
Yeah, we're fortunate to have so many miles of it. When we had Carolina Thread Trail on, I was stunned to see actually how many miles are in Gaston County, and not just related to Carolina Thread Trail. There's some that aren't, but it was surprising to see how many miles are here. Mm-hmm. So here's a very important question, and I'm going to ask you anyway because it's my question. UNC Duke or NC State?
Duke for me. Now the rest of the board might come at me for that answer.
We haven't had Duke as an answer in a while, have we? I'm not sure what to do with that. Maybe we could can we edit that out as we
Can we phone a different farmers market board member to see what they say?
That's funny. Paige, what is something very few people know about you?
Well, in this context, my professional world is something you guys don't know about me. So I'm a family wellness chiropractor. So I'm prenatal and pediatric focused within the chiropractic world, which is a little bit unique to a certain degree.
Yeah, actually, I made a note to out beside this question. So wellness in general or chiropractic wellness, or because I know some chiropractors that I personally know that really do a lot more than just your, what I would call the classic view
Right.
of chiropractic.
Yeah, there are a lot of different kind of realms within chiropractic as far as the type of practice that you have. So we focus 100% on the adjustment within our chiropractic practice. But I say wellness because it's more of a maintenance, ongoing, proactive style of adjusting and healthcare, and not a reactive injury rehabilitation side of it.
So I would have to go somewhere else. This old man's back from exercising too much. Problem.
You know, I do say that we adjust from diaper to diaper, so age isn't always a thing.
Oh, that's funny. I haven't heard that one in that context. That's good. So I appreciate you sharing that. How about a book or blog or article or something that you follow or something that you've read recently that you could recommend to our listeners?
I really enjoy reading a lot of the blogs about, Go Gaston and what we can do outside and things like that from a personal standpoint. But I also really like murder mystery books and stuff.
Oh, do you really?
So that's a lot of fun for me too.
Do you have a specific one or something?
Just any of them that have a really good twist to it.
Okay, so the murder mysteries.
I think The Silent Patient, if anybody is a big fan of twisty mysteries, that's a good one.
All right, well, we appreciate you indulging us on those Gaston County specific questions that we like to hear that, and in your the other board members, family, patients, that's really what they want to know and hear about you. So we've got just a few more questions before we'll get this episode wrapped up. And again, it's a question that I like to ask. And again, being from Gaston County, being able to maybe sound like you spent some time away from Gaston County and have come back. So besides the Mount Holly's farmer market, why would you say Gaston County is such a great place?
I think it's kind of that feeling that I was talking about that we have at the market, but just in Gaston County in general, being away and coming back, you walk downtown of any of our cities in Gaston County, even though some are bigger than others, right? Mm-hmm. You get that sensation of being at home and being welcomed when you go in somewhere. And, I think that community feel is really what makes Gaston County great. And as well as the proximity to how much outdoor stuff we have as well. Having the river right in Mount Holly is fantastic. Having Crowder's Mountain on the other side, a lot of the greenway that we were talking about too, just having that connection.
It's definitely unique. It's a unique county. And I always like to mention too, close to the mountain, close to the coast. Mm-hmm. I mean, we really have a lot of things positive about Gaston County. So, Paige, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
It's funny because when I was 20, I guess I would be right at graduating from Appalachian State, and I think the fear of not knowing exactly what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be and how I was going to get there was big for me, and just kind of reassuring myself to have faith that we're going to be right where we need to be at the right time, and all is going to be great. It would be the best thing for me, and probably to save a little bit more money for grad school.
Yeah, that's funny. Things you don't think about when you're 20. Yeah, that's a good one. We want things to happen so quickly, mm-hmm. and if they don't happen quick enough in our mind, it's not going to happen ever. I mean, right. It's interesting looking back too. I was probably worse about that than most people. Yeah, that's interesting to say that. But I appreciate the Appalachian State. I have my daughter is one more semester at Appalachian State. So she just came home 2 days ago for her final Christmas break from college. So that's very interesting. Cool. I don't think she'd like to hear that when I said that to her. It's your last Christmas break. It's like, oh gosh, it is, isn't it? So Paige, this has really been good, and I appreciate your time. So again, the main point of us starting this podcast is to bring awareness to organizations like the Mount Holly Farmers Market. So where can listeners go to learn more, find more information out, volunteer, get involved potentially, just anything and everything you can share there for us?
Sure. So I would say Facebook is the best way to follow us. Just search Mount Holly Farmers Market on Facebook. We do have an Instagram as well. You're able to find us, and then our website is just mounthollyfarmersmarket.com.
Yeah, I did spend some time on Facebook page. Was great.
Thank you. I helped manage that. So
oh, yeah, good. It was. I spent some time on there yesterday doing a little bit of, I try to at least do a little bit of research before each episode to kind of find out what's going on there. So any last final words of wisdom or anything you'd like to share before we close this episode out?
I just want to say thank you for having me on and giving the farmers market an opportunity to share with listeners and all that you're doing within the community with the podcast in general.
Well, you're welcome, and I appreciate that. And again, it's been great for us and me personally, just to meet so many great people and hear, a lot of the organizations I've known a little bit about, but so many like the farmers market in Mount Holly, I just didn't know a whole lot about. So I appreciate your time coming over. So we're going to close this one out like I normally do with either my own thought or quote for the week and my book recommendation. And we're recording this on, what's today, the 14th of December. So it will be released the Thursday before Christmas. Am I right, Naomi? Don't let me mess that up. So I decided to go old school on a book here. And it's a book I've read more than once. But I'm going old school with a good Christmas book, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. I know I'm sure everybody has seen the movie, but if you haven't read the book, I would encourage you to do that. It is worth the read, in my opinion. And my quote or thought for this week is also kind of related. I'm going to say it's related to Christmas, or at least this time of year. It comes from one of my favorite movies, and it's on significance. And it comes from Clarence, the guardian angel, from the movie It's a Wonderful Life. And he said, "Strange, isn't it? Each man's life touches so many other lives. When he isn't around, he leaves an awful hole, doesn't he?" I like that quote, and I like that concept and I think all of us would do ourselves a good service if we could remember how significant each of us are. If we just don't, I think we often don't realize the impact that we have, and mostly positive impact. And that's why I like talking to organizations and people like Paige, who are seeing firsthand some of the impact you're having with the community in Mount Holly. But a lot of people don't realize the impact and how significant we all are. So take that for what it's worth. And if you've never seen It's a Wonderful Life, it is worth the couple of hours to take a look at that movie. Have you seen It's a Wonderful Life, Naomi? All right, you got to give yourself a want or something. Naomi said no. Naomi, I don't even know what to say. I'm questioning everything that I know about you now. I might have to get you do you have a DVD player or a Blu-ray player? Maybe we'll just play. I'll bring that in and you can just spend 2 hours at work here watching that movie. Paige, this episode is totally going off the rails. I'm sorry.
That's totally fine.
I'm just stunned.
I'm stunned she hasn't seen it too. I'm on your side here.
My goodness. I don't even know what to say. How do I end these? I don't even know. I'm totally just discombobulated now, Naomi. So to our listeners, thanks for taking the time. I've been waiting for a good moment to embarrass you as much as possible on the podcast. I think I've just found it. Okay, you're welcome. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode. Please continue to spread the word if you can about the podcast. And please don't hesitate to contact us at our email, which is podcast@gastonsgreat.com. We are always looking for suggestions for future podcast topics and guests. You can find the podcast and subscribe at the website, gastonsgreat.com, I think, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And please follow us on all our social media platforms. And according to Naomi, give us a good 5-star rating. It helps the podcast get noticed. Thanks again to Paige for being our guest today. Gaston's Great is produced and brought to you by Naomi Hunt, who has never seen It's a Wonderful Life, and Amy Anderson from GSM Services, and edited here locally by the Sumner Group. I'm your host, Stephen Long. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and please keep coming back to hear more reasons why Gaston's great.